Are you feeling like sales are just harder right now? The clients who used to say yes are now taking weeks to decide. Inquiries are slower, deals are dragging, and even the most promising leads, they just need more time. And worst of all, you might be feeling like you're the only one going through this. You might be looking at other business owners around you thinking, why are they doing so well? And what am I missing? Well, as someone who spends a lot of time behind the scenes of businesses, from marketing agencies to coaches and consultants to even home services, I can tell you that you're not alone. Everyone is feeling it. Sales cycles are longer, people are more hesitant, and it's just taking more energy to get the same results that were so easy to get before. And in today's video, I'm going to break down what's actually happening and why it's affecting every service-based business and what you can do to set your business up for success in 2026. And before we get into today's content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, especially if these videos are benefiting you and your business. Now, what prompted me to record this video in October 2025 is a startling statistic that I saw in the headlines a few weeks ago that stated that half of all spending in the US right now is coming from the top 10%. Now, I'm not an economist. I don't want to get into an economic conversation. I'm a business strategist who works behind the scenes with service businesses all day. And I want to talk about buyer behavior. Because when we talk about buyer behavior using this information, we can then be adaptable with our sales and marketing, not just for the rest of this year, but into 2026. So I want to look at this conversation with an optimistic lens of, instead of feeling like things are going to be really challenging, which they probably will still be, we can instead make informed decisions and feel more empowered with what we can do and what control we can have in our businesses. So I'm excited to dig in. Make sure you grab something to write with, and we're going to dig into how you can be adaptable in your business. Now, a little context for what's going on, and I think this is going to be really validating for you as you hear this, because you've probably felt it and you've probably had some just personal experience with some of this information that I'm going to share with you. So I hope it gives some validation to those feelings, and again, reassurance that you're not alone in what you're experiencing in your business. Now, the middle class, which is the group of people that most small businesses traditionally serve, is just really stretched thin. You've seen the headlines probably about higher credit card debt, rising costs, inflation, decision fatigue. I mean, people are just a lot more cautious when it comes time to making an investment in something. They're taking their time to make decisions, and a lot of them have shifted from thinking about what they want to do, 6 months to 12 months from now, to how can I make more short-term decisions, because I just don't know what it's going to be like months from now. And when I say decision fatigue, it's not just that people are cautious of picking, you from a dozen other chiropractors, or you from a dozen other plumbers, or you from a dozen other coaches. That's always existed, that kind of saturation. What I mean is a lot of people are experiencing this decision fatigue with themselves, because a couple years ago, they would make a decision to invest in something, whether that was a marketing service, whether that was something to, work on improving their house or their health. And it just didn't work the way that they thought it would. And so they're in a place where right now they don't really trust their own ability to make decisions. So there's a lot of things that are impacting the decisions that go around someone saying yes to working with you. So if you've been feeling, again, like, is it my offer? Is it my price? Is it me? Did something happen to me? Probably not. Again, we're going to talk about how you can be adaptable with that, but you need to understand the things that are going on for your target market. Now, the affluent market, those with the higher incomes, they are still very much spending. They're traveling, they're renovating, they're hiring, they're investing in services, and they're investing in services that are going to save them time and improve the quality of their life. And so you can see these two groups of people have very different experiences around how they're making decisions right now, where they're choosing to allocate their money. And so if your sales are just feeling different, it's not you. It could be the market that you want to serve, or the market that you're trying to serve. And so we're not really in one economy anymore. It feels very much like we're in two. You've got, on the one hand, this survival market that I was talking about, where they're very budget driven. They're looking for a lot of reassurance, deals, and safety around their investments. Whereas the affluent market, They're looking for value driven, they're looking for confidence, they're looking for excellence, they're looking for trust. And so the problem is a lot of businesses are speaking to the wrong one, or they're trying to speak to one and they're offering something that that group isn't looking for. But the good news is that you can adjust. And that does not always mean changing your market completely. So if, for example, you've historically targeted the middle class, that doesn't mean you have to start instantly targeting the affluent. You can very much stick with your core group of people that you market to. We're just going to go over some small adaptations that you can make in your marketing, in your offers, in your sales that are going to help you more successfully speak to them and ideally improve your revenue. And so if you're someone who wants to stay with your current market, you might just want to be thinking about how you can adjust how you show up inside of it. So it could be shifting the urgency of the problem, reshaping your packages so that clients can start smaller instead of having to make these bigger commitments. It could also be updating your messaging so that you can build a lot more trust and confidence. Rest assured that your clients are still spending. You just have to make it easier and safer. That's the key word, easier and safer for them to say yes to you. Now let's dig into the 4 shifts to future-proof your business for 2026 and beyond. So the first one is rethink your offer by solving a right now problem. Now, of course, you always needed this kind of clarity before, but in many instances right now, clients just don't want vague promises or long timelines, regardless of which group that you're speaking to. They want faster and easier outcomes. So I'll give you an example. Pre-2020, years ago, we used to offer a 12-month business consulting, business coaching package, and it was very easy for people to say yes to that because at the time, things were going well economically. People were thinking years in advance of their business of what they wanted to do. And over time, especially right now, people are thinking, I can't imagine what I'm going to be doing in my business 12 months from now. It's too big. So many variables are at stake. I need something that makes me feel like I can get a win right now. So we even shifted. We never got rid of our packaging. We just shifted some of the messaging and the way that clients can enter, whether it's through a smaller VIP day, which is an entry point then into our 12-month program. And we also shifted some of the languaging that instead wasn't focusing so much on longer term goals, but rather short term wins, short term gains that even our most successful clients were looking for. So when you think about your business, whether you're a bookkeeper, a chiropractor, whether you're a contractor, designer, again, it doesn't matter which group you're marketing to. Just think about, what are my clients urgently looking for right now? What are they urgently trying to solve? And if someone hired me today, what's the immediate relief that I could deliver in the next 30 days? That's kind of what you want to be thinking about and how you want to be thinking about your offer at the moment. So that's what's going to sell in this market. So instead of, just saying you're going to come to me and you're going to feel better, if you're a chiropractor, you would say you're going to come in and in the next 30 days, we're going to, remove whatever back pain you're experiencing and get you off, I'm just making this up, one prescription medication. If you are a bookkeeper, you work with small business owners, you want to be talking about how you can help them do something with that financial information that you're helping them with in the next 30 days. So whether that's gathering the information to hire someone, whether that's, increasing the cash flow by a certain percentage, you really want to get that granular and that specific, because that's going to create some reassurance and trust in what you're offering, because then people can wrap their minds around it and they're not wondering, wait, why would I hire this person? Why am I thinking about working with them? So don't overthink this. Do not throw your offer out. Do not think you have to start from scratch with this. It's just taking your offer and just kind of shifting it to a different angle so that you can position it in a way that people are going to say yes. And this is a great differentiator for you, because a lot of people, what they're doing is, I'm just going to stick with this because it used to work, or I'm going to stick with this because this is what I know, this is how I describe what I do, and eventually someone will say yes, but that's actually very exhausting. So I'm excited for you that you're watching this video and you're taking in this information, because even this small shift alone, I guarantee you, is going to improve your sales in the next couple of weeks. So shift number 2 is about refreshing your messaging, specifically from this perspective of presenting your offer as something that's super affordable and people are going to save so much money by working with you. to instead focusing on how can I present myself as someone who is stable, and how can I create some confidence in people saying yes to working with me. Now, people just really aren't comparing prices anymore. Yes, of course, they're price conscious and they're thinking about how much they're spending on things, but people are still spending. They're just very, very specific and very choosy with how they are spending that money. And so rather than just presenting yourself as the lowest price or the most affordable, really what you want to be thinking about is how can I convey more trust, because that's what the middle class market is wanting. They want reassurance in the decision that they're making, because if they're going to say yes to working with someone, they really want to make sure that that yes is the right yes. And so how can I convey that reassurance? The affluent market, they want confidence, because again, they're looking for someone to create more quality of life, to make things easier for them. So they want the confidence in knowing that you are going to deliver the exact experience that they're looking for. So for example, the visuals, the words, the tone of your marketing should really communicate that kind of reliability, not necessarily discounts or desperation. And I think it's so tempting for people to want to lower their prices because they think, well, if people are feeling the burn with how expensive things are and inflation is here, maybe I'll just lower my prices and that's going to make it easier for people to say yes. But I have witnessed this so often that what ends up happening is you can lower the price of your services, but you still have to deliver it. So it's effectively, you're delivering the same amount of work for less money in many instances, because let's face it, most business owners, they love doing right by their clients. They are very heart-centered. They're very service-oriented. They want to do well for their clients. And so it's not always the easiest for them to say, well, if I'm charging lower, then I won't do as much. I've just witnessed it in reality way too many times. And I've watched, again, behind the scenes, especially when it comes to like the coaches, consultants, bookkeepers, just they put themselves in a pit because they've effectively lowered their prices and they can't get out of that trap. So I would encourage you, if you're feeling that temptation to lower your prices because it's going to meet people where they are, don't do it. Instead, I would encourage you to think about, how can I create more reliability? How can I show that my results are trusted? How can I show that I have a proven process that works? And what that looks like is you sharing case studies in your social media, telling stories of testimonials and case studies in your email, making sure that you have those things as well on your website. And if you're someone who does a lot of networking or you go out and speak, it's infusing that kind of storytelling into your networking and speaking so that people feel like, oh, they know what they're doing. I want to work with them. I'm going to choose them over the other 5 bookkeepers that I interacted with. I'm going to choose them over the chiropractors that I was speaking with, a couple weeks ago. And so ultimately, buyers in 2026, regardless of which kind of group they fall into, they want to feel safe saying yes, not like they're just hunting for the lowest bid. So I hope that offers you some relief. And in fact, this is going to be a very doable adaptation for you in your business, because if you've been in business even for just a couple of months, or if you've been in business for many years, you have plenty of case studies and testimonials and stories that you could show that give evidence to you being a reliable yes. Now, shift number 3 is about strengthening relationships and building community. And honestly, this one is probably my favorite one because it is going to be the most overlooked. I am telling you right now, I see it all the time on social media. I hear about it all the time when a new client comes to us, how focused they are and how much time, energy, and money they will spend to bring a new lead into their business. And they completely overlook the ones who have already fallen in love with them and have that like, know, and trust connection. So I'm calling it, in 2026, connection is going to be currency. So whether you are a plumber or electrician and you're in that home services sphere, whether you're a bookkeeper, whether you're a coach or consultant, whether you're a chiropractor or a massage therapist, it doesn't matter. Your warm audience, these are past clients, current clients, referral partners, people you network with a lot, really good social media connections that always engage with your content. These are your most valuable assets. And so what I want to show you are some very, very simple ways that you can foster that connection and build that community, and what impact this is going to have on your sales. So you could do something as simple as hosting an appreciation event. There was a couple years ago that one of the financial advisors I was working with hosted a small appreciation gathering, like a local bowling alley that just opened and had hors d'oeuvres and there was games, and it was so nice because it was just a really great way to connect with this person outside of what always feels like a very stuffy office. And even to this day, I remember that it just felt like such a nice touch. Whereas I don't think I've ever worked with another business owner that's ever appreciated me or my business in that way. So hosting a small appreciation event, whether that's at a bowling alley, whether that's at a really nice like local food-based business, it doesn't matter. Just think about, how can I bring together some of my longest clients, some of the clients who've spent the most money, some of the clients who've been with me the longest. How can I show them that appreciation? I am telling you, this is going to make it so that not only are they going to want to continue working with you, but they're going to want to tell other people about you. So very exciting and very fun. A really, really great opportunity for you there. You could send a short personal update, talk about what's going on for you and your business, your personal life, and ask how they're doing. Make it so that it's not always about business or seeking business from someone. Just seek to connect human to human. I've seen some business owners do this beautifully, where they've sent out literal like paper mail to a list. Again, you're not sending this to like an entire email database. You're not sending this to people you just connected with on LinkedIn. These are people who know, like, and trust you. So it's not going to be weird if you send this update of how you spent the summer, updating and renovating your house and some of the cool stuff that you did with your family and what you're excited about for the fall and what you want to hear from in terms of what's going on for them. Like, make it like a really nice personal letter. You could even do some local collaborations. If you are someone who does a lot of business locally, you could think about, how can I collaborate with someone who they don't have to do the same exact thing I do, but how could we come together? I see this a lot where I live, where nutritionists will collaborate with yoga studios, or a nutritionist will collaborate with a local healthy eatery, and they'll do some really great things together, whether it's hosting a workshop, whether it's doing something like a fun fundraiser, or like an evening networking. Like, you can really be creative here. So I don't want this list to be exhaustive for you. I instead want you to start using your imagination and think, this could actually be really fun for my business. And if I do something like this, not only am I going to feel really good, it's just really, really satisfying, but it's also going to continually make me top of mind and deepen the trust that's already there. I mean, I'll say it again. I think so many business owners overlook this because it feels like work. And it just feels like, well, they already know me. Of course, they'll just organically think of me and refer to me. I'd rather spend my time chasing someone who doesn't know me and spending time and money investing in ads. You can certainly still do those things, but I personally find that this has always worked. Relationships has always worked in business. And I think if you make this a priority in 2026, your sales are really going to stabilize consistently. And the fourth shift is partnering up. It's community over competition. And I just think that growth from here is all about going together. How can we support each other? How can we create these connections and really, really forge them for 2026 and beyond, instead of viewing everyone as potentially going to take business from you or going to just be your competition. And I mentioned in shift number 3 that you could do some really great collaborative stuff with other local business owners if you're someone who does a lot of local business, but I don't think you have to stop there. So shift number 4 is really about, how can I partner really thoughtfully and strategically with people who are complementary to my business and create these win-win referral systems. So you might have done this. This is something that a lot of business owners do when they're very new in their business. They will join networking groups. They will try and create these referral partnerships. Some stay, but in many instances, it fizzles out because they get distracted with other stuff. They're growing their business. They feel like, oh, that's something that new business owners, quote, new business owners do. I'm too advanced for that. But I can tell you, as someone who has been in business for over 10 years and has a multiple 6-figure business, shift number 4 is actually one of the cornerstones of our business, and how we get some of the most incredible, high-paying, fabulous clients is because we have really nurtured these referral partners and referral partnerships, and we just have really dialed that in. So this could look like, for example, a bookkeeper with someone who's a tax expert like a CPA or an EA. It could be a realtor with a stager or a really incredible photographer. It could be a speaking coach with someone who helps with books. So when you're a trusted professional, you know this if you've done this before, when you're collaborating with someone, that credibility and trust just compounds because already someone from that other person's network is going to say, oh, because so and so's connected with them, I'm willing to have a conversation with them. So I think in this instance, you really want to think about how can I go about nurturing those partnerships? Because again, instead of you spending time trying to figure out how much more content you can post and how much more you can spend on ads, if you just shifted your attention to deepening these partnerships with some of these referral partners and do that on a weekly basis, this is going to create an ecosystem where not only are you going to get more consistent leads and referrals, but also think about how you can deepen the support for your own clients, right? If you think about this for an instant, right? If you are a speaking coach and your clients are trying to get more sales from speaking and traveling to conferences and getting on stage, and you collaborate with just, a person who publishes books, that's one way to support them. But think about all the other ways that you could be that trusted person, right? We talked about so much about building trust. Like if you really think about your client holistically and what they need, this is one of those ways that you can become the go-to that they just won't want to leave for a while, right? Because they know, oh, this person knows that person, this person knows that other person, they've got my back, they know what I need, they can make these connections for me. I don't have to waste time or talk to people I don't necessarily trust. So it's yes, about getting consistent referrals and getting consistent potential clients, but it's really about building that trust. And so I think so much, I spend a lot of time sometimes scrolling LinkedIn. I see all this, you got to build trust, but no one really talks about how to build trust. This is one of those ways you do that is by finding those complementary partners, building that relationship with them, being patient in building that, and then showing your client that you are this really trusted go-to person and your clients won't want to leave for a while. So I hope that you can see that these 4 shifts are things that you can start doing in your business right now with the resources that you have. And if there's one takeaway from this video that I would want you to have, it's this. The businesses that are going to succeed and do really, really well in 2026 and beyond, it's not about being the loudest or the flashiest or posting the most content or being the most visible all the time. They're the ones that are going to be most aligned with what people truly value right now. And that's that reassurance, that's that trust, that's that certainty, that's that confidence that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So if you're listening to all of this and you're thinking, I'm not sure how to talk about my offer in a way that's going to give people trust in me. I don't know how to position testimonials or case studies or where to put them or how to use them. I don't know how to bring that into my sales. I don't know how to put that into my marketing. Don't get overwhelmed. Go to the link in the description. Let's book a call and let's go over the 4 shifts together for your business so that you're set up for success in 2026 and beyond.